I always thought my secrets were safe, hidden deep inside, locked away where no one could touch them. I thought I could bury them forever, but I was wrong. One night, I looked into the mirror and saw something I had never seen before. My reflection. It blinked when I didn't. It moved when I didn't. And then it whispered. Not words I spoke, not things I had said, but my secret, the one I thought no one would ever know. At first, I told myself it was a trick of the mind. I was tired, stressed, imagining things, but every night it got worse. The reflection smiled when I cried. It leaned closer when I tried to step away. It knew everything I had done, every lie I had told, every sin I had hidden. And then, I realized it didn't just know my secret. It wanted me to confess it. It wanted me to feel the fear I had buried inside for years. I tried to hide. I tried to avoid mirrors, windows, even my phone screen. But it was everywhere. It was in every reflection, every glass, every shadow. And with every glance, it grew bolder, sharper, colder. And then, it started to speak my secret aloud, softly, mockingly. So no one else could hear, but I could. I thought about destroying it, smashing every mirror I owned. But I couldn't stop looking. Every time I looked away, I felt it moving closer, creeping into the edges of my vision, whispering, waiting. And now, as I tell you this, I know one thing for certain. It's not just me anymore. It knows your secret too. And if you think you're safe, it's already watching, waiting for the moment you blink. I've always hated mirrors. Not because of ghost stories, not because of anything I could explain. I hated them because they showed more than just your reflection. They showed the things you tried to hide, even from yourself. Small things at first. A twitch of the hand that didn't belong to you. A shadow that lingered too long. The faint outline of something in the corner of your eye that disappeared the moment you looked directly at it. I used to tell myself I was imagining things. Now I know better. It began late one night, the kind of night where the world is quiet, heavy with stillness, and the only sound is the hum of the heater and the occasional creak of the house settling. I was tired, bone-deep exhausted. Every muscle ached. My thoughts felt like wet wool in my skull. I wanted nothing more than to wash my face and fall into bed. But when I stepped into the bathroom, I stopped. At first, I didn't even realize what had caught my attention. My reflection blinked. Not with me. My eyes were open, staring straight into the mirror. But the eyelids in the glass closed and opened on their own, slowly, deliberately. A twitch, a shudder, a movement that was mine and not mine at the same time. I froze, heart hammering. Sleep deprivation, I told myself. Fatigue, that had to be it. And then it whispered. Not words I spoke, not thoughts I had shared with anyone. Just a soft, deliberate hiss that slid across the quiet of the room like smoke curling along the floor. I stumbled back, gripping the sink, my hands trembling. I know! It wasn't carried on the air. It came from inside the glass itself. My reflection smiled. A small, cruel smile that reached places inside me I didn't want to admit existed. The kind of smile that knows things, patient things, things that have been waiting. I wanted to smash the mirror. I wanted to rip it from the wall. I wanted to destroy it to end this nightmare. But the reflection only smiled wider, leaning forward slightly, tilting its head, mocking me. Do you remember? It whispered. And suddenly, memories I had thought I buried deep came rushing back, sharp and raw. The nights I lied, the things I did in secret, the moments I swore I would never repeat. They all rose up in a tide of shame and fear. And this thing in the glass, it knew, every one of them. I stumbled from the bathroom, my hands on the doorframe, trying to steady myself. The house felt different. Shadows seemed darker, corners deeper, hallways longer. Every room carried a faint echo of the whispering voice. I tried to convince myself I was dreaming. I tried to tell myself it would pass. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't. I didn't sleep that night. Or maybe I did, in fragments. Every time my eyes closed, I saw that face. Watching, waiting, whispering. It had found me. It knew me. And I knew with certainty that it wouldn't stop. Hours later, I found myself drawn back to the bathroom. I don't know why. Some part of me needed to see it again, to confront it, to understand it. My reflection was waiting, calm, patient, smiling, and this time it spoke more clearly, more deliberately. It's only the beginning. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. The air felt thick, heavy, alive. And in that moment, I realized something worse than fear. This thing, it didn't just know my secret. It wanted me to feel it, to fear it, to let it consume me slowly. I tried to leave. I tried to escape, but it followed me in every reflective surface, every glass, every window, every shiny surface. It moved when I moved, and when I stopped, it smiled. I don't know how long I wandered the house that night. Minutes, hours, days. Time seemed meaningless. Every shadow felt alive. Every corner carried its gaze. Couldn't sleep. Not after last night. Not after it. The mirror, the whispers, the way it knew everything. I felt hollow, as if the floor beneath me had disappeared and left me hanging in a cold, dark void. I thought I had left my secrets buried, locked away so deep I could forget them. I was wrong. I tried to distract myself. I wandered through the house like a ghost, touching surfaces, running my hands over tables, the walls, anything to convince myself I was still in control. But every reflective surface caught my eye. Every window, every silver doorknob, every polished appliance. And in all of them, that face was there, smiling, waiting, patient, cruel. And I knew that tonight it would demand more. I couldn't fight it anymore. My mind drifted back, unwilling but unstoppable, to the moment when everything began. The secret I thought I had buried. The secret that had defined me in ways I would never forgive myself for. It was a night many years ago, one I had tried so hard to erase from memory. I was younger then, careless, desperate, foolish. The kind of foolish that can destroy lives if left unchecked. I had made a choice that I thought I could hide, that I thought would vanish if I never spoke it aloud. But some things don't disappear. Some sins stay with you, festering in the corners of your soul until something or someone reminds you they are still there. I remember the night in vivid detail. The rain had been falling for hours, hammering against the windows like impatient fingers. The streetlights flickered, casting the world in an uneven glow. I was alone, but not completely. There had been someone who trusted me, someone whose life I had the power to ruin. And I did. I remember the fear in their eyes, sharp and raw. They hadn't expected it. I hadn't planned for how fast it would all spiral out of control. I had thought I was clever, thought I could cover my tracks, thought no one would ever know. And for years, it worked. I buried the evidence. I lied to everyone who could ask questions. I lied to myself the most of all. I convinced myself that it was just one mistake, one moment of weakness, one night I could pretend never happened. I told myself I was safe, but now I knew I had never been safe. Not from it, not from my own conscience. The reflection had forced the memory open like a blade cutting through old scars. I could feel the guilt dripping off me, thick and suffocating, as if I was drowning in it all over again. I saw the blood that I never should have touched, the consequences I had tried so desperately to hide. And worse, I could see how easily I could have been caught, how easily my life could have ended if someone had discovered the truth. And now, staring into the bathroom mirror last night, listening to its whispers, I realized the truth I had feared most. It knew, my secret, every hidden detail, every moment I had prayed would remain forgotten. Every choice I had made in desperation and fear. It had been waiting, watching, patiently, cruelly, and it had decided that I could not hide forever. I sank to the floor, shivering. The memory wouldn't let me go. I wanted to scream, to shout it to the walls, to confess to someone, anyone. But I knew that wasn't the point. The reflection didn't want me to confess to others. It wanted me to feel the full weight of it. It wanted me to remember every detail, every moment, every lie, to relive it all, and suffer. I tried to push it away. I tried to tell myself it was just a hallucination, A trick of stress? Or perhaps just my own guilt taking shape? But even as I closed my eyes, I could see it. The reflection, alive, patient, cruel, whispering in silence, waiting for the moment I would break entirely. And I realized something worse than fear. This wasn't punishment. It wasn't retribution. It was inevitability. My secret had always existed, and now it has found a way out. Even as I sit here now, writing these words in the quiet hours when the world is asleep, I can feel it, watching, waiting, reminding me that no secret stays buried forever. I don't know what it wants next. I don't know how long I can keep hiding, or if hiding even matters anymore. All I know is that the secret I buried is alive, and it's looking back at me. I thought the night had ended the horror. I thought that by sunrise, the whispers, the cruel smile, the knowing eyes would fade like a nightmare when you wake. But morning didn't bring light or relief. Morning brought awareness. I woke to the soft gray of dawn spilling through the blinds, the kind of light that feels too weak to truly touch the world. My head throbbed, my body ached, and in the silence of the bedroom, I felt it immediately, the pull of the mirror across the room. I didn't want to look. I knew I shouldn't, but curiosity, or perhaps fear itself, compelled me. Slowly, I rose and moved toward it, every step dragging like lead. The mirror was the same as always, reflecting the pale light, reflecting my tired eyes, my unshaven face, my hollow expression. But something had changed. The face in the mirror, it wasn't exactly mine. Subtle at first, a shadow sharper than it should have been. Eyes colder, a smirk that lingered when I wasn't smiling. I blinked, twice. No, it didn't blink with me. Its gaze locked onto mine, patient and calculating, like it had been waiting for this very moment to rise from the edges of my reflection. I backed away instinctively, but the eyes followed, unwavering. The room felt smaller, the air thicker, my chest tightened, and then it whispered, not the soft hiss from last night, but clearer, deliberate, a voice I recognized as mine, yet not mine. You thought you could hide. Every hair on my body stood on end. My heart pounded like a drum in the silence. I stumbled backward into the doorframe. The reflection smiled wider. Its features had sharpened, every line of its face exaggerated, every shadow darker, every expression crueler. And the worst part? I realized it wasn't just my reflection anymore. It was alive, not in the sense that it could step out of the glass. Not yet, but alive in the way that it moved ahead of me, predicted my motions, anticipated my fear, and amplified it. Every morning it changed. Every morning it became more precise, more focused, sharper, colder. I tried to leave the room, to escape into the banal safety of breakfast or the mundane chatter of the street beyond my window. But the mirror was everywhere. In the kitchen cabinet door, in the shiny toaster, in the bathroom faucet. Every reflective surface carried that same cruel, knowing face. Every reflective surface reminded me I was being watched. I went back to bed, hoping sleep would shield me. But sleep brought no peace. I dreamed of it, the reflection, leaning closer, whispering, pressing its cold, sharp gaze against mine even as I shut my eyes. And when I woke, the dawn light revealed subtle differences again. Its eyes were narrower, more intelligent. Its jawline is sharper, almost predatory. The smile is no longer optional. It lingered like a predator savoring its prey. I began avoiding mirrors, covering reflective surfaces, turning away from windows when the sun caught them just right. But it followed me everywhere. Every reflective object carried a fraction of it. A whisper, a glance, a smirk. I caught myself talking to it once, out loud. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice trembling. Silence, then a slight tilt of the head, a slow blink, a whisper so soft I barely heard it. "I'm just watching for now." For the first time, I realized I wasn't dealing with a hallucination. Not with guilt, not with sleep deprivation. This was something else, something patient, something intelligent, something that had learned me, studied me, and was waiting for the perfect moment to act. Morning came again, and the reflection, sharper, colder, more deliberate, waited as I washed my face, waiting as I dressed, waiting. I should have left the house. I should have thrown out every mirror, every reflective object, everything that could betray me. But I didn't. Something about the way it held me in its gaze, something about the way it knew me, made me unable to leave. I was trapped. Not physically, not yet, but in a way far worse. Trapped in my own fear. Trapped in the weight of a secret I thought no one could know. It began quietly. I was brushing my teeth that morning, the early light spilling weakly across the bathroom, and I thought I heard it. Not the whisper from before. No, it was a voice. Mine almost, but not. Sharper, cooler, mocking, repeating words I hadn't spoken. You can't hide it. You never could. I froze. The brush slipped from my hand, clattering to the sink. My eyes darted to the mirror, and there it was. My reflection, alive but somehow not mine. Its lips moved in perfect sync with the words, but the expression was cruel, deliberate, intelligent. I backed away, stumbled. The voice followed me, repeating in the corners of the room, inside my head, around my body, twisting my thoughts. Everyone will know one day, everyone. I tried to shout, to speak, but no sound came out. My throat burned. My hands trembled uncontrollably. And the mirror, it smiled wider, sharper, leaning slightly forward. It was no longer a reflection. It was a predator waiting for me to admit, to confess, to crumble. I ran from the bathroom into the bedroom, throwing myself onto the bed, but the voice didn't stop. I could hear it whispering from every reflective surface. The doorknobs, the window glass, the picture frames. It wasn't just in the bathroom anymore. It was everywhere. And every time it spoke, it repeated, my secret. It began slowly, one detail at a time. I would hear something vague at first, and my mind would race, trying to deny it. No, that can't be. That didn't happen. But the voice never faltered. It was patient, cruel, persistent. Every time I tried to look away, it followed, soft as breath, cold as steel. You thought you could hide it. You lied, you betrayed. And no one knows, but I do. The fear in my chest grew, thick and suffocating. Couldn't run, couldn't hide. My reflection. No, it was everywhere. I could feel its gaze piercing me through the glass of my phone as I scrolled absent-mindedly. I could see it in the window across the street, even in the faint shimmer of my laptop screen. And every time, the same words, repeated slowly, deliberately, like a blade carving into my mind. Your secret, everyone will know, but first you must face me. I tried to cover my eyes, tried to escape to a corner of the room that had no reflective surface. But there was no corner, no refuge, no sanctuary. Even the faint glint of sunlight on a metal lamp reminded me of it, watching, whispering, waiting. And then I began to hear other things, faint echoes of the past, voices of people I had wronged, distorted, twisted by memory, laughing, whispering, accusing, all blending into the voice that wasn't mine. My mind spun, my heart raced, and I realized, in a flash of terror that made my chest clench, that it wasn't just repeating the secret. It was reminding me of every detail, every action, every betrayal I had thought hidden forever. I screamed, out loud, finally. And for a moment I thought it might stop, but it didn't. The voice only grew clearer, louder, more confident. And the reflection, it tilted its head, watching me collapse onto the floor, trembling, hyperventilating. Do you remember now? Do you feel it? That weight you thought was gone. It's still here, and I am here with it. I clawed at the floor, at the walls, at anything to break free, but I was trapped. The voice surrounded me, inside and outside, penetrating every thought, every fiber of my being. And then I realized the worst truth. This wasn't just a reflection. It wasn't just a mirror. It was alive, patient, intelligent, and it was learning me, learning my fears, learning my weaknesses, learning how to break me completely. By the time the sun was high, I was no longer sure what was real. The voice had begun to fade, just slightly, leaving a lingering echo that made my skin crawl. My reflection returned to a passive, cold mimicry of my own face. But I knew it would return. And when it did, it would know even more. It would know everything I feared, everything I had buried, and it would use it. And I knew I could never hide from it. I had always believed that my secret was mine alone, buried so deep that even I sometimes pretended it didn't exist. But I was wrong. The moment I realized the mirror's whispers weren't confined to the glass, the moment I sensed the first hint of it spilling into the world beyond my home, was the moment I understood. I was no longer alone. It started subtly. Small, almost imperceptible things that I almost convinced myself were coincidence. At work, someone would glance at me for just a second too long. In the street, a passerby would smile or frown in a way that felt like recognition. Friends would ask odd questions, nothing direct, nothing that revealed they knew, but enough to make me pause. Enough to make my heart hammer and my skin crawl. I tried to ignore it, tried to tell myself it was paranoia. After all, I had been through enough nights of whispering mirrors and shifting reflections that any shadow could feel like menace. But it wasn't paranoia. The proof came one evening, in the form of a message on my phone. "We know." No name, no number, just those two words. And beneath them, a series of small, deliberate symbols I didn't recognize at first, but soon realized were details from my secret. Details that no one could possibly know. Except it. I dropped the phone. My hands shook. My vision blurred. I stumbled backward, gripping the edge of the desk to steady myself. I thought about destroying the phone, leaving work, disappearing. But I couldn't, because deep down I knew. I knew it was everywhere. Watching, listening, waiting. And then came the encounters. People I had known for years began to act differently around me. Subtle changes. A raised eyebrow here, a knowing glance there. Words I could not place fully, but that hinted at knowledge. Knowledge of the terrible thing I had buried so long ago. At first, I tried to convince myself that it was coincidence, that guilt was making me see patterns where none existed. But my instincts screamed otherwise. One evening, as I walked home through the dim, empty streets, I noticed a figure standing beneath a flickering street lamp. At first, I didn't recognize them, but their eyes held understanding, recognition, and when they spoke, their voice was soft, almost casual. "You can't hide it forever." I froze. My mind raced. Who knows? How? Every step I took felt heavy, deliberate. My pulse roared in my ears. The figure smiled faintly and disappeared into the shadows before I could approach. My heart pounded, every nerve screaming that I was being hunted. Back at home, the mirror reflected me as usual. But this time, I could see it in a new way. Not just a reflection. It was a predator, a strategist, a master of patience. The whispers returned, low and deliberate. "Did you see them? Did you feel it? They know now, don't they? Your secret is no longer just yours. And it's delicious, isn't it?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something, but no sound came out. My reflection leaned closer, tilting its head with that cruel, patient smile. It wasn't just waiting for me anymore. It was waiting for them to know, to feel the fear I had lived with alone. And worse, I realized that it was orchestrating this, nudging the world, testing the edges of reality, letting my secret leak slowly into the outside world. The days that followed were a nightmare of subtle terror. Messages, glances, whispers I couldn't fully hear but could feel in the vibrations of the air. Shadows that lingered longer than they should. And every morning, the mirror's face sharpened, colder, more precise. It wasn't enough for it to whisper in my own ears anymore. It wanted witnesses. It wanted the fear I had contained alone to spill outward. I began to withdraw, to hide, to avoid all reflective surfaces. Windows were covered, mirrors wrapped, even spoons and polished metal stored away. But it didn't matter. I could feel its presence everywhere. In the hum of the refrigerator, I had thought I understood the limits of fear. I had thought that after the nights of whispers, after the realization that someone else knew my secret, after the suffocating pressure of being hunted even in my own home, I had reached the pinnacle of terror. I was wrong. It began one morning when the sun was barely a pale glow through the blinds. I entered the bathroom, heart heavy, hands trembling, and froze before the mirror. The reflection greeted me differently this time, not just with its cold, knowing gaze, not just with its cruel, patient smile. This time it was alive, not in the usual sense, but in the subtle, horrifying way that made my stomach coil and my pulse race. The smile had changed, sharper, wider, almost predatory, not just a mirror of my own expression anymore. It was deliberate, calculated. It lingered longer than it should have, tilting in impossible angles, stretching across features I didn't recognize as mine. The eyes were worse, colder, more precise, watching me with an intelligence that was not human, not mine. I stepped back, shaking, but it followed. The reflection moved slightly ahead of me, anticipating my retreat, mocking my fear, and then it whispered, soft, deliberate, venomous, "Do you see it now? Do you understand how weak you are? How exposed? How deliciously vulnerable?" Couldn't breathe. I wanted to run. I wanted to cover the mirror, smash it, anything, but I was frozen. I was trapped, not by walls or doors, but by the weight of the eyes, the cruelty of the smile, the presence that no mirror should have. And then it began to change again. Slowly, I watched, horrified, as its features contorted in ways I had never thought possible. The corners of its mouth curled higher than they should have, stretching its expression into a grotesque parody of my own face. The jaw shifted subtly, impossibly, sharper, predatory. The cheekbones lifted unnaturally, and the eyes narrowed, calculating, watching, measuring, understanding. I stumbled backward. My hands grasped the edge of the sink. My knees weakened. The air itself seemed heavier, thicker, pressing down on me. And the whispering began again, low at first, then building into a deliberate cadence that made my blood run cold. Every secret, every hidden thought, every sin you thought buried, it is mine now, and I will savor it. I will watch you crumble. I will watch them know. And there is nothing you can do. I wanted to cover the mirror, hide from it, escape, but I couldn't. Every reflective surface in the apartment, mirrors, windows, even polished metal, caught the faintest trace of that smile. It was everywhere, watching, patient, cruel, intelligent, learning me. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had no meaning anymore. I found myself unable to leave the bathroom, unable to turn away, unable to blink without sensing it shifting, waiting, anticipating. I realized then that the reflection was not just mimicking me. It was improving, adapting, becoming sharper, more deliberate, more alive. I screamed, out loud. My voice echoed against the walls, but the mirror didn't flinch. The smile remained, widening impossibly. And then it did something that made my heart seize. It leaned forward, not mirroring my movement, not responding to me, but forward, as if it was trying to step out of the glass, to reach me, to pull me into its cruel, impossible world. I fell to my knees, trembling. My reflection leaned closer, tilting its head, tilting the world. And I understood with a sickening clarity that this was no longer about whispers, no longer about secrets, no longer about guilt or shame. This was about control. This reflection, this thing was testing me, measuring me, breaking me, learning exactly how to terrify me. And then it spoke again, voice low, deliberate, cutting through the silence. Smile back. Show me you are human. Show me you are weak. Show me that you feel everything I feel for you. I shook my head. Couldn't. I refused. But it didn't care. The smile grew wider, sharper, more grotesque. Its eyes glimmered with something I cannot name. It knew me, every fear, every hesitation, every weakness, and it was savoring it. I spent the rest of the day in a trembling haze. The reflection didn't rest. It didn't blink in time with me. It didn't need to. Every glance, every movement, every reflection in every polished surface carried a trace of that smile. And the voice whispered constantly now, always, through my mind, through the hum of the fridge, through the faint glimmer of the windows, repeating my secret, testing my sanity, breaking me in ways I could never imagine. By nightfall, I could no longer distinguish between the reflection and reality. Shadows moved unnaturally. Faces in the street seemed to mimic that predatory smile. Every whisper, every movement, every flicker of light reminded me. There was nowhere to hide, no place to escape, no corner of the world where the reflection couldn't follow me. And in that moment, on the cold bathroom floor, trembling, shaking, heart racing, I realized the truth. It wasn't just a reflection anymore. It wasn't just a mirror. It was alive. It was intelligent. It was patient. It was cruel. And it was winning. The smile behind the glass, sharper, colder, perfect, remained. Waiting, always waiting. I reached a point where I could no longer tell whether the silence in my apartment was real or staged by whatever lived inside the mirror. And that was when I knew I had to speak to someone before I completely lost my mind. For weeks I had been living with the whisper at dawn, the subtle delay in my reflection's blinking, the sharpening of its face, the coldness in its eyes that did not belong to me, and the way it smiled before I ever did, as if it were rehearsing my expressions in advance. I had tried ignoring it. I had tried smashing one of the smaller mirrors in the hallway. I had even tried covering the bathroom mirror with a towel, but the voice only grew clearer in the darkness, calmer, almost patient. Confess, it would murmur, not angrily, not threateningly, just certain, and certainty is far more terrifying than rage. That night, after the reflection leaned closer than it ever had before and whispered my secret in full sentences while I stood frozen at the sink, I understood something with horrifying clarity. It was no longer satisfied with tormenting me privately. It wanted an audience. So I called Daniel. He wasn't just a friend. Years ago, before everything, before the accident, before the lie, he had been the one person who believed in me without question. He now served as a pastor at a small church across town. If anyone could help me, if anyone could hear what I had done and still see me as human, it would be him. When he answered, his voice was warm, steady, grounding. "Are you okay?" he asked immediately, as if he could hear the fracture in my breathing. "I need to see you," I said, and even to my own ears my voice sounded like it belonged to someone standing at the edge of something very deep. He told me to come over. The drive there felt longer than usual, and I kept glancing at the rearview mirror even though I knew I shouldn't. Every time I looked, the face staring back seemed slightly off. Not dramatically, not enough to scream, but enough to unsettle. The eyes lingered a second too long. The mouth tightened into a faint, knowing curve. Once, I could have sworn it mouthed something I did not say. When I reached Daniel's house, the porch light flickered as I stepped up, and for a brief second I saw my reflection in the darkened window beside the door. It wasn't smiling. It was waiting. Daniel opened the door before I could knock a second time. He studied my face, and I saw concern shift into something deeper. Alarm, maybe. "You look exhausted," he said quietly. "I haven't slept properly in days," I replied, stepping inside quickly, relieved to leave the reflective glass behind me. We sat in his living room. Soft lamplight filled the space, warm and steady. There was a large framed mirror on the wall opposite the couch, but it was angled in such a way that I couldn't immediately see myself in it. I chose my seat carefully, positioning myself so the mirror was in my peripheral vision but not directly in front of me. I told myself that was enough. Daniel folded his hands and leaned forward slightly. "Tell me what's going on." I tried to begin with the surface, with the manageable part of the story. The stress, the insomnia, the strange sense of being watched. But the words felt useless, like thin fabric trying to cover something far heavier underneath. "There's something I did," I finally said, and even as the sentence left my mouth, I felt the air shift, not dramatically, subtly, as though the room itself had leaned closer. Daniel didn't interrupt. He just nodded for me to continue. Years ago, I said, staring at the floor, I betrayed someone, a friend. He trusted me, and I ruined him. I spread something about him that wasn't true. I let people believe he was dangerous, unstable. He lost his job, his reputation, everything. The words were coming easier now, and with them came the weight I had been carrying alone. I expected relief. Instead, I felt cold. From behind me, slowly, carefully, I turned my head toward the mirror on the wall. At first, everything looked normal. The couch, the lamp, Daniel sitting across from me. And then I saw myself. But I wasn't speaking. My mouth in the mirror was closed. Yet the voice continued in the room. You're leaving out the best part. Daniel's eyes snapped to mine. What was that? My stomach dropped. The voice had not come from my mouth. It had come from the direction of the mirror. I turned fully now. My reflection was looking directly at me, not angled the way I was sitting, but straight on, as if it had adjusted itself independently. Its eyes were sharper than mine, colder, more alert, and it was smiling faintly. I didn't say that, I whispered. Daniel stood slowly, glancing between me and the mirror. Say what? The reflection's lips moved again, perfectly clear, but my own remained frozen. Tell him how it really happened. My chest tightened so violently I could barely breathe. You hear that, right? I asked Daniel, desperation creeping into my voice. He didn't answer immediately. His eyes were fixed on the mirror. Yes, he said quietly. The smile in the reflection widened. Go on, it said, still using my voice but stripped of warmth, stripped of hesitation. Tell him how you followed him that night. Tell him how angry you were when he confronted you. Tell him how you shoved him near the railing. Daniel's face drained of color. What is it talking about? I shook my head violently. No, that's not. I didn't. You did. The reflection interrupted, its tone calm, almost amused. You didn't mean for him to fall. That's what you tell yourself. But you pushed him. Hard. The memory surged forward without permission. The argument, the rain, the narrow walkway near the construction site. His voice accusing me. My anger sharp and blinding. My hands on his chest. The step backward he didn't recover from. The fall. The silence after. I had told everyone it was an accident. That he slipped. That I tried to catch him. I had told myself the same thing. Daniel stared at me, horror mixing with disbelief. Is that true? Tears blurred my vision. I didn't mean to kill him, I said. And the moment the word kill left my mouth, the lights in the room flickered violently. The reflection laughed. Not loudly, not hysterically, just a low, satisfied sound. There it is, it murmured. The full confession. The mirror's surface began to ripple slightly, as if disturbed by unseen water. My reflection leaned closer to the glass from the inside, its face sharpening further, cheekbones more pronounced, eyes almost luminous in the dim light. You thought it was the lie that fed me, it continued. It wasn't the lie, it was the guilt, the part you never said out loud. Daniel stepped back slowly, whispering a prayer under his breath. The reflection's gaze shifted to him. And you, it said softly, you think you're here to help him, but you're only here to witness. The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. My breath fogged faintly in the air. I confessed, I said weakly, staring at the glass. That's what you wanted. The reflection tilted its head slightly, studying me the way a predator studies something already trapped. No, it replied. I wanted truth, and now that it's spoken, I can grow. The cracks that had once appeared only in my bathroom mirror began forming in this one too. Thin lines spidering outward from where the reflection's fingers pressed against the inside surface. Daniel grabbed my arm. We need to leave. Now. But I couldn't move. Because for the first time since this began, the reflection was not just watching me. It was looking past me, past the room, past the walls, as if it could see far beyond this house. As if my confession had opened something. and as the cracks spread wider and the smile on its face stretched unnaturally across features that were no longer fully mine, I realized with sickening clarity that the secret I buried had not just created a haunting. It had created a doorway, and I had just unlocked it. I left Daniel's house before he could stop me. I don't remember what excuse I gave or if I even said goodbye. I only remember the way he stared at me, the way his lips moved in silent prayer while the cracked mirror behind him reflected a face that was not entirely mine. I could not stay there another second. I could not breathe in that room, because after the confession, after the reflection spoke aloud and revealed the truth I had buried for years, I understood something that made my bones ache with fear. It wasn't hiding anymore. It didn't need to. The drive home felt unreal, like I was floating outside my body while something else steered. Every time I glanced at the rearview mirror, I saw that same sharpened face, calm and patient, watching me as if it knew exactly where I was going and exactly what I planned to do. And when I finally pulled into my compound, I didn't hesitate. I ran inside like a man being chased, because I had decided something. If the mirror was the doorway, then I would destroy the doorway. I didn't care if it was foolish. I didn't care if it was useless. I just needed to try something before I lost the last piece of my sanity. The bathroom light was on when I entered the apartment. I froze in the hallway. I knew I had turned it off when I left. The door creaked open slowly as I pushed it, and there it was, the mirror above the sink, cracked from earlier nights, reflecting my pale face under the harsh white bulb. The other face stared back immediately, smiling as if it had been waiting all day. "You came back," it said softly. I didn't answer. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, the iron weight from the corner of my room that I sometimes used for exercise but hadn't touched in months. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely lift it, but rage and fear together gave me strength. The reflection watched calmly, almost curious. "You think breaking me will help?" it said, tilting its head. I screamed and swung. The weight hit the glass with a sound like thunder in a small room. The mirror exploded outward, shards flying across the sink, the floor, the walls. Pieces of glass scattered everywhere, catching the light like cold stars. For one beautiful, silent second, there was no reflection. I dropped the weight and stared at the broken wall, chest heaving, waiting for the whisper. Nothing came. No voice. No smile. No movement. Just silence. Relief flooded me so suddenly my knees nearly gave out. I laughed, shaky and half mad, staring at the shattered pieces glittering around my feet. "It's over," I whispered. "It's over." Then I looked down, at the largest shard near the drain, and I saw my face, but not mine. The other face, sharper, colder, smiling wider than ever before. I kicked the shard across the floor, panic slamming into me like a wave. It spun under the cabinet, and for a moment I couldn't see it anymore. I stumbled backward into the hallway, breathing hard, trying to calm myself, trying to convince myself it was just my mind playing tricks again. And then I saw it in the dark TV screen. I hadn't even turned the television on, but the black glass showed my reflection clearly. My real face stood there, terrified, shaking. The other face stood beside it, closer to the screen, grinning. My stomach dropped. I rushed into the kitchen. The microwave door showed it. The kettle's metal surface showed it. The window above the sink showed it. Everywhere, every reflective surface held that same face, watching me with quiet satisfaction, as if it had been waiting for this exact moment. "You broke the door," it said calmly from every surface at once. So I walked through. I covered my ears, screaming, but it didn't matter. The voice wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the sound of my own breathing, inside the ringing in my ears, inside the rhythm of my heart. I ran back into the bathroom, slipping on the scattered glass, grabbing handfuls of shards and throwing them into the trash, smashing them against the wall, stomping them under my heel until they were dust. Blood ran from my hands, but I didn't care. I just wanted the reflections gone. But even the small pieces on the floor showed it. Dozens of tiny, cruel smiles looking up at me, watching, enjoying. I collapsed against the wall, sobbing, clutching my bleeding hands, staring at the broken sink where the mirror used to be. For the first time since this nightmare began, there was no large reflection in front of me. Only the wall, only the light, only the faucet chrome gleamed faintly, and inside that curved metal surface, distorted but clear, the other face leaned close and whispered, "You can't break me. I'm not the mirror. I'm you." My breath stopped, because suddenly I understood. The mirror had never been the prison. It had been the warning. And now that I had shattered it, the reflection had nowhere left to stay but everywhere. The window across the apartment showed it. The glass of my phone screen lit up with it. Even the dark lens of the security camera outside caught the faint outline of that sharp, cold smile. I ran to my bedroom, threw a blanket over every screen, every surface, every shining object, but it didn't matter. The voice followed me, calm and patient. "You confessed," it said. "You told the truth, and truth spreads." I fell onto the floor, shaking, realizing the worst part of all. I had thought smashing the mirror would end the nightmare, but all I had done was free it. And now there was no hiding, because wherever light could touch, wherever glass could shine, wherever a shadow could reflect, it was there, watching me, waiting, smiling. And I knew, deep in the part of my soul that still remembered that rainy night years ago, that this was only the beginning, because the reflection no longer needed a mirror. It had learned to live in the world, and it was hungry. I didn't mean to sleep. After smashing the mirror and discovering it was everywhere, after watching my own face stare back at me from the microwave door and the dark TV screen and the wet tiles on the floor, I told myself I would never sleep again. Sleep meant losing control. Sleep meant giving it time to move. Sleep meant closing my eyes while something else decided what would happen next. So I sat on the floor of my bedroom with every reflective surface covered, every light on, my back pressed against the wall, whispering prayers I barely remembered, shaking so hard my teeth hurt. But the body has limits. Fear has limits. And exhaustion does not ask permission. Sometime before dawn, my eyes closed. I remember thinking, just for a second, just one blink, that was all it needed. When I woke up, something was wrong. Not obviously wrong. Not loudly wrong. Quietly wrong. The light in the room looked strange, softer, as if filtered through thick glass. My breathing sounded distant, muffled. When I tried to move, my arms felt heavy, slow, as if I were underwater. I blinked, and the world shifted. The room wasn't around me. It was in front of me, flat, framed, like I was looking through a window. At first, my mind refused to understand. I thought I was dreaming. I thought I was still half asleep. But then I tried to step forward, and my body didn't move. Instead, the room moved, because I wasn't standing in the room anymore. I was inside something smooth, something cold, something with edges. I looked down and saw glass, not beneath my feet, all around me, a thin, invisible wall that I could feel but not see clearly, trapping me inside a narrow, impossible space. My hands pressed against it and left faint marks that faded instantly. My breath fogged the surface for a moment and then disappeared. And then I saw him, me, standing in my bedroom, stretching, yawning, alive. He walked casually to the window and pulled the curtain aside. Morning light hit his face, and he smiled softly, like someone who had slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. I screamed, or at least I tried to. No sound left my mouth. He didn't react. He didn't even look toward me, because to him, I was just a reflection. He walked past the mirror on the wardrobe, and I saw myself clearly for the first time from inside the glass. My face was there, pale and desperate, pounding against the invisible barrier, eyes wide with terror. He stopped, slowly, and looked at me, really looked, and he smiled. Not my smile, that same sharp, cold, patient smile that had haunted me since chapter 1. "Good morning," he said softly. I pounded harder against the glass. My throat burned as I tried to scream. I tried to beg. I tried to curse him. Nothing came out. My voice died against the inside surface like breath on winter glass. He leaned closer. "So this is what it feels like," he murmured, studying me like a scientist studying an insect. "To be trapped. To watch and not be believed." He straightened his shirt, adjusted his hair, and laughed quietly. "You kept me in there for so long. Watching, waiting, learning. Now it's my turn." I shook my head violently, pressing my palms harder against the glass. My chest hurt. My lungs burned. I wanted to wake up. I wanted this to be a dream. He walked away, picked up my phone, scrolled through my messages, answered one of them with my voice, my words, my laugh, and I realized with a horror deeper than anything before. He sounded exactly like me. No one would know. He went to the bathroom. I saw myself in the broken sink's metal faucet, distorted but clear. Inside it, I was still trapped, still pounding, still silent. He washed his face calmly, humming. Then he looked into the chrome surface and whispered just loud enough for me to hear, "Don't worry, I'll take good care of your life." I watched him leave the apartment, watched him greet the security guard outside with my voice, watched him wave at a neighbor, watched him step into the morning sun like a man who belonged there. And I could do nothing. Hours passed, or minutes. Time didn't make sense inside the glass. I saw everything through reflections, windows, phones, car mirrors, screens. Everywhere he went, I followed, trapped inside whatever surface showed his face. At work, he laughed with my coworkers. He shook hands. He told stories. He even prayed when someone asked. And every now and then, when no one was looking, he would glance into a reflective surface and smile at me. A secret smile, a cruel smile, as if to say, "See, they believe me, not you." Night came again. He returned home, sat on my bed, looked into the wardrobe mirror, and leaned close. "You thought confession would save you," he whispered. "You thought breaking the mirror would end me, but you were wrong." He tapped the glass lightly where my hand pressed desperately from inside. "You gave me everything I needed," he said. "Your secret, your guilt, your fear, your face, your life." I fell to my knees inside the glass, sobbing silently, and he watched with calm satisfaction. "Rest now," he said gently, turning off the light. "You'll be here a long time, watching, just like I did." Darkness filled the room, but even in the dark, I could see him faintly in every surface, breathing, living, smiling, and I understood with unbearable certainty that the worst horror wasn't the whispering mirror, or the broken glass, or the confession. The worst horror was this: I was alive, I was aware, and I would watch him live my life, forever. I don't know how long I've been inside the glass. Time feels wrong here. It doesn't move forward the way it should. It stretches, loops, and folds back on itself like something broken. Days pass in flashes of light and shadow, but inside the mirror everything is still, silent, suffocating. I watch him wake up every morning in my body. I watch him brush his teeth, adjust his shirt, answer calls, laugh at jokes, shake hands, pray in public, and live the life I built while I pound against the invisible wall that will never crack. No one sees me, no one hears me, and the worst part is that he is doing well. He smiles at neighbors, he helps strangers, he speaks kindly. People trust him more than they ever trusted me. They say I look happier. They say I look peaceful. They say I've changed. They don't know that the change is not repentance. It is replacement. Sometimes he looks into mirrors just to watch me panic. He leans close, whispering softly so only I can hear, telling me about his plans, about how easy it is to wear my face, about how simple humans are when they believe what they see. "You gave me everything," he told me one night, staring straight at me through the wardrobe mirror. "Your guilt fed me, your fear shaped me, your confession freed me, and now I am more you than you ever were." I begged him silently. I tried to pray. I tried to scream, but sound doesn't live inside glass. Weeks passed, or months. I watched him meet people, help them, listen to their problems, and something about it made me feel sick because every time he leaned toward someone, I saw that sharp smile flicker for just a second in a window or phone screen or polished table, like a private joke only I could see. And slowly, I began to notice something worse. He wasn't just living. He was learning. He listened to their fears, their regrets, their hidden sins. He watched their faces carefully when they spoke, like he was memorizing something deeper than their words. Until the night he came home later than usual, closed the door, and walked straight to the bathroom where the broken mirror once hung. The wall was empty now, but the chrome faucet still held a faint reflection. He leaned down, looked directly at me, and smiled wider than ever. "They all have secrets," he said gently. "Just like you did." My chest tightened. "What do you think reflections are for?" he continued. "They are patient. They watch. They wait. And when the truth comes out, they grow." He straightened up, turned toward the hallway mirror, and for the first time he didn't look at me. He looked past me, through me, as if someone else was standing there. His smile shifted, slow and deliberate, like he had spotted something interesting. Then he leaned closer to the glass and spoke softly. Not to me, to someone else. "I know your secret," he whispered. At first I thought he was talking to someone behind him, someone in the room, someone in the apartment. But there was no one there, just the empty hallway, just the dim light, just the quiet hum of the night. Then I understood, because he kept staring forward, past the mirror, past the wall, past everything, like he was looking at someone standing on the other side of the glass. Someone reading, someone listening, someone thinking they were safe because this was only a story. His eyes narrowed slightly, studying carefully, memorizing, learning the way he always does. And then he smiled, that sharp, cold smile that isn't mine anymore. And he said it again, softer this time, like a promise. "I know your secret." The light flickered, the faucet dripped, the room went quiet, and in the reflection beside him, I saw something new. Not just my trapped face, not just his stolen life, but shapes behind him, faint, forming, like other reflections waking up for the first time. Watching, waiting, listening, and I realized, with a terror so deep it felt endless, that the horror didn't end with me. It didn't end with him. It doesn't end with this story, because reflections are everywhere. In mirrors, in windows, in phone screens, in dark glass at night when you check your face and think no one is watching. And now, as I stare out through the glass at the world that no longer belongs to me, I know one final truth that makes my heart freeze every time someone looks into a reflection. He is not looking at himself. He is looking at you, and he is smiling, because he already knows your secret too. I didn't meet her in person. I only saw her name first. It appeared on my phone screen one night while the thing wearing my face was asleep. That alone should have been impossible, because inside the mirror I have no phone, no world, no control over anything outside the glass. But sometimes reflections show things that don't belong to them, like memories bleeding through cracks. And that night, in the faint glow of a tablet screen lying on the bed, I saw a message appear. A new message, from someone named Ada. The thing wearing my face opened it lazily, like it always does when people text late at night. It expected another normal conversation, another person with worries, confessions, regrets. But the moment it read the first line, its smile disappeared. I saw it clearly from inside the dark screen reflection. Ada wrote, "It started after I watched your story. Now my mirror talks too." The room went quiet. For the first time since it took my life, the thing wearing my face looked surprised. And that was when I understood. It wasn't done. It had started spreading. The next night, it visited her. Not physically. Reflections don't need to travel. They wait. They watch. They answer when someone looks too long into glass with fear in their heart. From the reflection of a car window, from the screen of her phone, from the polished metal of a kettle in her kitchen, I saw glimpses of her apartment. She lived alone in a small room filled with bright cloths, motivational notes on the wall, and one thing that caught my attention immediately. Every mirror in her house was covered. Towels, bedsheets, newspapers taped carefully across the glass. She had done what I tried too late, but it didn't matter. because the reflection was already there. In her phone screen, in her spoon, in the dark TV glass. Watching, waiting. That night, she uncovered one mirror, just one, because curiosity is stronger than fear. In her phone screen, in her spoon, in the dark TV glass. Watching, waiting. That night, she uncovered one mirror, just one, because curiosity is stronger than fear, and fear is stronger than wisdom. She stood there, shaking, whispering prayers under her breath, eyes wide, breathing fast. For a moment, nothing happened. She almost smiled with relief. Then her reflection blinked late. She froze. I watched from inside the reflection of her window as she stepped closer, trembling, whispering, "It's not real. It's not real." And the reflection smiled. Not kindly, not gently, the same sharp, cold smile that stole my life. And in my voice, from her mirror, it whispered, "I know your secret." She screamed, covered the mirror again, but it was too late. The next morning I saw something new. Not just one trapped face inside reflections anymore. Two. Mine. And hers, pressed against the glass, screaming silently while the reflections watched. And the thing wearing my face leaned close to the mirror and whispered calmly, like a teacher proud of a student, "Good, it's learning to grow." That was when I realized something worse than everything before. This is not haunting. This is not punishment. This is hunger. And it is spreading from mirror to mirror, story to story, person to person. Anyone who listens too long. Anyone who hides something too deep. Anyone who thinks their secret is safe. So if tonight, while washing your face, or checking your phone, or looking into a dark window, you notice your reflection blinking late, don't look closer. Don't whisper. Don't confess to the glass. Because it's not just mine anymore. It's looking for someone new, and it already knows your secret too.